My husband says he's finding himself at the gym 3 nights a week, but I found a receipt that says otherwise. I, 41F, have been married to Mark, 43M, for 15 years. We have 2 kids, a mortgage, a golden retriever, and what I thought was a rock-solid foundation. Lately, though, Mark has been on this massive self-improvement kick. He started hitting the gym 3 or 4 nights a week, staying late, and coming home smelling like high-end deodorant and exhaustion. I was proud of him. Truly. I even started meal prepping for him because he said he wanted to get his life back on track before the big 4-5. Well, fuck my life, I guess. 3 nights ago, he left his gym bag in the mudroom. This is unusual because he's usually very protective of it. He claims it's because his sweaty clothes stink up the house, but I noticed he always takes it straight to the laundry room himself. This time, he was distracted by a work call and left it sitting by the door. I went to move it because the dog was sniffing it, and it felt weirdly heavy. I don't know why I did it, call it intuition, call it being a nosy bitch, whatever, but I unzipped it. I expected dirty socks and a protein shaker. Instead, I found a receipt from a boutique lingerie shop downtown, Agent Provocateur. If you know that brand, you know it isn't the kind of place you go for a thinking of you gift for your wife of 15 years who usually wears Target cotton briefs. The total was $450. The date on the receipt was from yesterday afternoon, a time when he told me he was stuck in a marathon budget meeting. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped the damn bag. I looked further. Tucked into the side pocket, underneath a spare t-shirt, was a small velvet box. Inside was a lace thong and a matching bra. It was a size 2. I haven't been a size 2 since my freshman year of college. I'm a solid size 10, and I'm damn proud of it after 2 kids, but this? This was for a doll. Or a very, very thin woman who is definitely not me. I put it back. I don't know why. I think I was in shock. I just zipped the bag back up, moved it to the laundry room, and sat at the kitchen table until he came back down from his office. "Hey, babe," he said, looking all polished and handsome in his work shirt. "Did you move my bag?" "I left it by the door." I didn't look at him. I couldn't. The dog was getting into it. "I put it in the laundry room." "Oh, thanks," he said. He sounded completely normal. Not a hint of guilt. "I'm gonna hop in the shower. Those deadlifts really took it out of me tonight." Deadlifts. Right. He's deadlifting $450 worth of lace. I'm sitting here now, staring at the wall while he's in the shower singing some stupid song. My heart is beating so fast I think I'm going to have a heart attack. I want to scream at him. I want to throw the bag out the window. But part of me is terrified that if I bring it up, he'll have some bullshit excuse that I'll be forced to believe because I'm too scared to lose my life. Is it possible he's buying it for me and just got the size wildly wrong? No. Nobody gets a size 2 when their wife is a 10. You'd have to be blind. I feel like a total idiot. I've been making his protein shakes and cheering him on while he's out there buying lingerie for someone else. I'm going to wait until he goes to sleep and then I'm checking his phone. I've never done that in 15 years. We don't even have passwords on our phones, or we didn't. I noticed last week he changed his. He said it was for work security. God, the signs were all there, weren't they? The work security, the gym, the new clothes. I'm such a goddamn cliché. Update 1. It's been 2 days since the gym bag incident. I didn't get into his phone. He slept with it under his pillow. Literally. Who the fuck does that unless they're hiding something? I decided to play it cool, or as cool as I can when I feel like I'm burning alive from the inside out. Yesterday, I mentioned that our anniversary is coming up in 3 weeks and asked if he had any ideas for what we should do. He didn't even look up from his laptop. I don't know, Jen. Maybe just a quiet dinner? I've been so stressed with the new project at work. I don't really have the energy for a big production. A quiet dinner, I repeated. I felt a lump in my throat. I thought maybe we could do a weekend away. Maybe go back to that B&B in Vermont? Vermont is a 4-hour drive, he snapped. I can't be away from my email that long right now. Let's just stay local. Why are you pushing this? I almost lost it then. I wanted to scream, I'm pushing it because you're fucking someone else and I'm trying to see if you even care about us anymore. But I didn't. I just walked out of the room. Last night, he stayed late at the gym again. I followed him. I feel like a crazy person. I waited until he left, then I got into my sister's car. She's out of town and let me borrow it while hers is in the shop, so he wouldn't recognize it. I followed him. He didn't go to the gym. He drove to a luxury apartment complex about 15 minutes away. I watched him park, grab his gym bag, and walk into the building using a key fob. He didn't buzz in. He had a key. I sat in that car for 3 hours. I watched the windows. I saw a light go on in a third-floor unit. About 10 minutes later, I saw a woman walk past the window. She was thin. She had long, blonde hair. My hair is brunette and hits my shoulders. She was wearing a silk robe. I felt like I was going to throw up. I actually had to open the car door and breathe in the cold air so I wouldn't vomit on my sister's upholstery. I wanted to go up there. I wanted to kick the door down and catch them. But what would that do? I was alone, in a car he didn't recognize, watching my life fall apart in high definition. He came out around 11 p.m. He looked happy. He had that relaxed, post-workout glow he's been sporting lately. He got in his car and drove home. I waited another 20 minutes before I followed. When I got home, he was already in bed. He'd even showered there. I could smell a different soap on him when I walked into the bedroom. It wasn't his usual sandalwood. It smelled like vanilla and something floral. "Where were you?" he asked, his voice groggy. "I thought you were in bed when I got home." "I went for a drive," I said. My voice was dead. I couldn't sleep. "You okay?" he asked. He actually had the audacity to reach out and touch my arm. I pulled away like he was made of hot lava. "I'm fine, Mark. Just tired." "You've been acting weird lately, Jen. If this is about the anniversary, I said we'd do dinner. Don't be a martyr about it." "A martyr?" He called me a martyr. I'm currently looking at divorce lawyers on my phone while he snores next to me. I haven't cried yet. I think I'm too angry to cry. I keep thinking about that $450 lace set and how it probably looks on that blonde bitch. I need to know who she is. I'm not leaving until I know exactly who has been sleeping in my husband's bed, or rather, who he's been sleeping with in hers. Update 2. I found out who she is. And honestly, I wish I hadn't. I spent the last 2 days doing some deep dive detective work. I went back to that apartment complex during the day when I knew Mark was at his office. I waited by the mailboxes. It's a small building, only 12 units. I looked at the names. Unit 3B, S. Miller. The name didn't ring a bell immediately. But then I went to Mark's Facebook. I went through his friends list and searched for Miller. Sophie Miller. She's 24. She's an intern at his firm. Or she was an intern last summer. Now she's a junior analyst. I remember him mentioning her once. He said she was bright but a bit airheaded. He'd complained about having to mentor her. He wasn't mentoring her. He was grooming her. Or she was grooming him. Does it even fucking matter? I did a little more digging on her Instagram. It wasn't private. I scrolled back through her photos. There's a picture from 3 weeks ago of a bouquet of peonies, my favorite flowers, by the way, with the caption, "He knows how to make a Tuesday feel like a fairy tale." Hashtag lucky girl, hashtag age is just a number. Age is just a fucking number. Yeah, and so is a bank account balance, which I'm sure is another reason she likes him. But here's the kicker. The absolute, soul-crushing part of this. I kept scrolling. I found a photo from 6 months ago. It was a picture of her at a bar, laughing. In the corner of the frame, just barely visible, is a hand resting on the table next to her. A hand with a very distinct wedding band, a gold band with a small notch in it where Mark caught it on a fence 3 years ago. This has been going on for at least 6 months. I've been living a lie for half a year. Every time he came home and kissed me, every time we had date night, every time he tucked the kids in, he was already with her. I went to my lawyer this morning. Her name is Sarah, and she is a shark. She looked at the photos I took of him at the apartment and the screenshots from Sophie's Instagram. She told me to stay quiet for a little longer. "We need to see the finances," she said. "If he's buying $450 lingerie and paying for a luxury apartment, he's using marital assets. We need to track every cent." I had to sit through dinner with him tonight. He was complaining about his back. "I think I pulled something on the rowing machine," he said, rubbing his shoulder. "Maybe you should stop going so hard at the gym," I said. I couldn't help it. The sarcasm was dripping off my tongue. He paused, his fork halfway to his mouth. He looked at me, his eyes narrowing. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Just that you're 43, Mark. You're not a kid anymore. You can't keep up with the younger crowd forever." "I'm in the best shape of my life," he said, his voice turning cold. "You should be happy for me. Instead, you're just being snarky and bitter. Is this because I'm actually taking care of myself and you're just sitting around?" I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. Sitting around? I work a full-time job in marketing, I handle 90% of the housework, I manage the kids' schedules, and I'm the one who makes sure his goddamn gym clothes are clean. I'm not sitting around, Mark. I'm holding this family together while you're out finding yourself. Jesus, Jen. You're impossible lately. I'm going for a walk. I can't even have a meal in peace. He slammed his chair back and walked out. He didn't go for a walk. He got in his car and left. Probably back to Sophie's to tell her how much of a bitch his wife is. I'm currently in our basement, going through the filing cabinet. I found his old laptop. He thinks I'm tech illiterate. He's about to find out how wrong he is. I'm looking for bank statements, credit card bills, anything. My kids came down a minute ago. Leo, 8, asked why Daddy was mad. I had to look my son in the eye and tell him that Daddy just had a long day. I hate that I'm lying to them. I hate that Mark has put me in a position where I have to be the one to keep the peace while he's tearing the walls down. I found something. An account I didn't know about. It's a joint account, but not with me. It's with his mother. Or so it says on the top of the statement. But the address isn't his mother's house. It's a P.O. box. There's $40,000 in it. I think I'm going to throw up again. Update 3. Everything exploded. I couldn't wait. I know the lawyer told me to stay quiet, but I'm not a machine. I'm a human being who has been treated like garbage for 15 years by the man who promised to love me. Mark came home around midnight. He was humming. Actually fucking humming. He walked into the kitchen where I was sitting with the bank statement spread out on the table. He stopped dead. The color drained out of his face so fast it was almost comical. Jen, he said, his voice a whisper. What are you doing with those? Found your gym membership fees, Mark, I said. I was surprisingly calm. It was that cold, dead calm you get when you've finally reached your breaking point. $40,000? That's a lot of protein powder. He tried to scramble. That's for my mom's assisted living. I told you we needed to start saving for her. Your mom lives in a condo in Florida that she owns outright, Mark. And she's 68 and runs marathons. She doesn't need assisted living. But Sophie Miller might need a down payment on a condo, right? Or maybe more lace underwear? The silence that followed was heavy. I could hear the clock ticking on the wall. Mark didn't deny it. He didn't even try. He just slumped into a chair across from me. How long have you known? He asked. Long enough to know you're a coward, I said. Is she worth it? Is a 24-year-old intern worth your marriage? Your kids? Your house? He looked at me then, and for the first time in years, I saw something in his eyes that wasn't boredom or irritation. It was pure, unadulterated spite. You want to know if she's worth it? He hissed. She makes me feel like I'm actually alive, Jen. When I'm with her, I'm not just a dad or a husband or a provider. I'm a person. With you, I'm just a piece of the furniture. You stopped looking at me years ago. I stopped looking at you because I was busy looking at our kids. I screamed. I didn't mean to, but the rage just boiled over. I was busy making sure the life you enjoy kept running. You think she's going to love you when you're 50 and your back actually gives out? You think she's going to stay when the money runs out? She's an intern, Mark. You're her ticket to a lifestyle she hasn't earned. She loves me, he said, and the conviction in his voice made me want to claw his eyes out. And I think I love her. I was going to tell you after the anniversary. I wanted to give you one last good memory. One last good memory? You were going to take me to a quiet dinner while you had $40,000 stashed away for your mistress? You're a monster. I'm leaving, he said, standing up. I'm going to stay at a hotel. We can talk about the details with lawyers. Oh, we're definitely talking with lawyers, I said. And by the way, I already talked to Sarah. She knows about the account. She knows about the apartment. And she's going to make sure that $40,000 comes back to this family. He laughed. A short, sharp, ugly sound. Good luck with that. That money is in a trust. You can't touch it. We'll see about that, you son of a bitch. Get out. He grabbed his gym bag, the one that started this whole thing, and walked out the door. He didn't even go upstairs to check on the kids. He just left. I spent the rest of the night crying on the kitchen floor. The dog came over and licked my face, which only made it worse. But then, around 3 a.m., my phone buzzed. It was a message from an unknown number. He's with me now. He told me everything. You're pathetic for trying to trap him with money. He doesn't love you. He hasn't for a long time. Stop making this harder than it needs to be. It was Sophie. The audacity of this woman. She's 24 years old and she's texting the wife of the man she's sleeping with to tell me I'm pathetic. I didn't reply. I blocked the number. But I took a screenshot. I have a feeling this is about to get much messier. My lawyer called me an hour ago. She found something else in the records. Mark didn't just move $40,000. He took out a second mortgage on the house 3 months ago. I didn't sign anything. My signature on those papers? It's a forgery. Update 4. The last few days have been a whirlwind of legal meetings, bank calls, and trying to keep my head above water while my world is literally sinking. The forgery is real. My lawyer brought in a forensic handwriting expert, and it's a slam dunk. Mark forged my name on a home equity line of credit for $150,000. Most of that money is gone. He's been using it to pay for Sophie's rent, her car, a goddamn Audi, apparently, and high-end dinners and trips they've taken while he was on business. I'm numb. I'm in a state of permanent shock. Mark tried to call me yesterday. I didn't answer. Then he sent a long, rambling email. He's changed his tune. Now that he realizes the forgery is out in the open and he's looking at actual criminal charges, he's deeply sorry. Jen, please, he wrote. I was lost. I was having a midlife crisis and I didn't know how to handle it. Sophie manipulated me. She told me I deserved to be happy. I didn't mean to hurt the kids or you. Let's sit down and settle this quietly. I can move the money back. I can make this right. Move the money back? From where? The account that's already drained? I forwarded the email to Sarah. She told me not to respond. We're going for the jugular. She's already filing for an emergency hearing to freeze all his assets and she's contacting the DA about the forgery. But then things got weirder. I got a knock on my door this morning. I thought it was the mailman. It was Sophie's mother. She looked older than me, but not by much. Maybe early 50s. She looked devastated. She asked if she could come in. I should have said no. I should have slammed the door in her face. But I was curious. My daughter is a fool, she said, sitting at my kitchen table, her hands trembling around a glass of water. She thinks she's in love with a man who is going to change her life. I found out yesterday about the money. I found out about the house. I told her she's being a homewrecker and a criminal, and she told me to stay out of her business. Why are you here? I asked. I felt bad for her, but also. Your daughter is the one who sent me that pathetic text. Because Sophie is pregnant, she said. The room tilted. I had to grab the edge of the table to keep from falling over. She's. What? She's 6 weeks pregnant. She told Mark last night. That's why he's trying to come back to you. He's terrified. He doesn't want a baby with a 24-year-old. He wants his comfortable life back, and he wants you to bail him out of the mess he's made. I started laughing. I couldn't help it. It was a hysterical, jagged sound. He got his mistress pregnant, he forged my name on a $150,000 loan, and he thinks I'm going to bail him out? He's more delusional than I thought. He told her he was going to marry her, the mother said, crying now. He told her he was a millionaire. She's just as much of a victim of his lies as you are, in her own way. No, I said, standing up. She's not. She knew he was married. She knew he had kids. She texted me and told me I was pathetic. She's not a victim, she's a participant. And you need to leave my house. After she left, I sat in silence for a long time. So that's the new project he's been working on. A new family. A new life built on the ashes of ours. Mark tried to come by this afternoon. He has a key, but I'd already changed the locks. He stood on the porch, banging on the door, yelling for me to let him in. Jen. We need to talk. I know what Sophie's mom told you, but it's not what you think. I'm not even sure the baby is mine. I didn't open the door. I called the police. I watched through the window as they escorted him away. He looked small. He didn't look like the confident, gym-toned man who'd walked out of here a few days ago. He looked like a panicked, middle-aged man who finally realized he'd destroyed everything for a girl who's probably only with him for the Audi he bought with my house's equity. My lawyer called an hour ago. She's found a second hidden account. This one is in Sophie's name, but Mark is the primary depositor. There's only $2,000 left in it. Where did the rest of the $150,000 go? I'm starting to think Sophie wasn't just an intern looking for a fairy tale. I think she might have been more calculated than anyone realized. And Mark, in his desperation to feel alive, was the perfect Mark. I'm waiting for the next shoe to drop. I have a feeling it's going to be a big one. Update 5. It's been a week since the police took Mark away from my front porch. Things haven't gotten better. They've just gotten more complicated in the most fucked up way possible. Mark is currently staying with his parents. His mother, the one who supposedly had the $40,000 account for her assisted living, called me yesterday. She didn't apologize. She didn't ask how the kids were. She told me I was being vindictive and that I should think about Mark's career. If you go through with the forgery charges, Jen, he'll lose his license, she said, her voice dripping with that old money condescension she's always had. He won't be able to pay child support. You're cutting off your own nose to spite your face. My nose is already gone, Margaret, I told her. He burned the whole face off when he mortgaged our house to buy his mistress an Audi. He can work at a car wash for all I care. He's not getting away with this. I hung up on her. But here's the thing. The $150,000. Sarah finally got the full bank records for the hidden accounts. Mark didn't spend all of it on Sophie. He lost over $90,000 of it on crypto. Specifically, some pump and dump scheme he'd been lured into by, guess who? Sophie's brother. Sophie has a brother, Tyler. He's 22. He's a day trader Reed, a loser who lives in a basement. Apparently, while Mark was busy mentoring Sophie in bed, he was also getting financial advice from her brother. They played him. They absolutely played him. The apartment? It belongs to a friend of Tyler's. The rent Mark was paying was way above market value, and Tyler was taking a cut. The Audi? It's in Sophie's name, but the loan is in Mark's. Mark wasn't just a cheater. He was a colossal, monumental idiot. He was the whale for a family of grifters. I found this out because Mark, in a fit of absolute desperation, sent me a 10-page confession email last night. He's realized that Sophie and her brother are now ghosting him since the money has dried up and the legal heat is on. Sophie isn't answering his calls. She told him she needs space to think about the baby. Tyler has blocked him. Mark is now begging me to team up with him to sue them to get the money back. Jen, they scammed us, he wrote. They targeted me because they knew I was vulnerable. We can get the money back if we work together. I still love you. Everything I did because I was confused, but I never wanted to lose our future. I haven't laughed this hard in years. I was literally doubled over on the floor. He wants to team up. The man who forged my signature and left me for a 24-year-old wants to be my partner in a lawsuit against the people he cheated with. I haven't told him yet that I'm not suing them. I'm letting the bank and the DA handle the criminal side. As for the rest of it, I'm filing for full custody and 100% of the remaining assets. Sarah says because of the wasteful dissipation of marital assets and the criminal fraud, I have a very good chance of taking him for everything he has left, including his 401k and his portion of the house equity. But then, this morning, a package arrived at my door. No return address. Inside was a single USB drive. I plugged it into my laptop, the old one, just in case of viruses. There was one folder titled for Jen. Inside were dozens of videos. Not of Mark and Sophie. They were videos of Mark at his office, talking to someone off camera. It looks like he was being recorded by a hidden camera in his own office. In the videos, he's talking about moving the funds and making sure the paper trail is clean. But he's not talking to Sophie. He's talking to his boss. My husband wasn't just being scammed by a mistress. He was being used to launder money through his firm. The cliffhanger? I just got a call from a private investigator. He says he has proof that the internship Sophie had wasn't real. She was never an employee. She was hired by a third party to get close to Mark. I'm sitting here with a USB drive that could put my husband, and his entire firm, behind bars for a decade. If I turn it over, Mark is gone. No child support. No house. Just a prison sentence. If I don't, I'm technically withholding evidence of a felony. And the cherry on top? I just looked at the last video on the drive. It's from 2 days ago. It's Mark, in a hotel room, talking to a woman whose face isn't visible. He's saying, I think she bought it. Jen thinks it was all about the girl. She doesn't know about the rest. We just need to keep her distracted with the divorce until the offshore transfer clears. He's still trying to play me. Even now. The confession email was a distraction. The scammed by the brothers story was a distraction. He thinks I'm the same piece of furniture he's been ignoring for 15 years. He has no idea that I'm already on the phone with the FBI. I'm not a martyr, Mark. I'm the person who's about to burn your whole world down. My husband's gym affair was actually a cover for a federal crime, and now he's begging me to save him from prison. I, 41F, am currently sitting in a nondescript office in a federal building, and I haven't slept in 36 hours. If you read my last post, you know that my husband Mark's midlife crisis involved a 24-year-old intern, a forged $150,000 mortgage, and a USB drive that suggested he was laundering money for his firm. I thought I was dealing with a standard cheating asshole. I was wrong. I was so goddamn wrong. The two agents I spoke with, Special Agent Vance and his partner, didn't look surprised when I showed them the videos. They looked bored, which was somehow more terrifying. "Mrs. Harrison," Vance said, leaning back in his chair. "We've been looking at your husband's firm, Sterling & Associates, for 18 months. We didn't have the internal access. You just gave us the keys to the kingdom." "So he's going to jail?" I asked. My voice sounded like it was coming from a mile away. "He's going to have a very long conversation with the assistant U.S. attorney," Vance replied. "But there's something you need to know about Sophie Miller. Or should I say, Sophie Varga?" I felt the blood drain from my face. "What do you mean?" "Sophie isn't an intern," he said, sliding a photo across the desk. It was a mugshot from 3 years ago. Different hair color, but the same dead eyes. She's a professional. Her brother Tyler? That's her boyfriend. They specialize in corporate honeypots. They find a high-level executive with a weak ego, get the dirt, and then use him as a conduit to move money. Mark wasn't just a mark for a romance scam. He was their fall guy. I started shaking. I couldn't stop. All those nights I spent crying because I thought I wasn't thin enough or fun enough for him? It was all a scripted play. He didn't even pick her. She picked him because he was easy to break. "Is she pregnant?" I choked out. Vance actually laughed. A dry, humorless sound. "Doubtful. It's the classic keep him on the hook move when the target starts getting cold feet or the spouse starts sniffing around. It buys them time to clear the accounts." I walked out of that office feeling like my entire 15-year marriage had been a prologue to a nightmare. I've been making protein shakes for a man who was literally trading our children's future for a honeypot. Update 6. The raid happened this morning. I was at home with the kids. I'd sent them to my sister's house an hour before, thank God. I didn't want them to see it. Mark had the balls to show up at the house at 7 a.m., thinking he could still talk his way back in. He was standing on the lawn, holding a bouquet of those goddamn peonies, shouting that he'd cut ties with Sophie and that we could be a family again. Then the black SUVs rolled up. It was like a movie. 10 agents, vests on, guns drawn, they swarmed him. Mark dropped the flowers and hit the grass like a sack of shit. He was screaming my name, crying, telling them it was a mistake. "Jen. Tell them. Tell them it's about the divorce. Jen, please." I stood behind the screen door and watched. I didn't say a word. I just watched them zip tie his hands behind his back. One of the agents came up to the porch. It was Vance. "We're going to need to search the premises, Mrs. Harrison. We have the warrant for his home office and all digital devices." "Take it all," I said. "Take every piece of him out of this house." They were in there for 6 hours. They found a burner phone taped to the underside of the mudroom bench. The mudroom. The place where he used to leave his gym bag. I'd walked past that phone every single day for months. While they were searching, my phone started blowing up. It was Mark's mother. "What did you do?" she screamed as soon as I picked up. "The neighbors called me. They said the FBI is at the house. You've ruined him, Jen. You've destroyed your children's father." "He destroyed himself, Margaret," I said. I felt cold. "He forged my name. He stole $150,000. He laundered money for a girl who's probably halfway to Mexico by now. Don't call me again." I blocked her. I blocked everyone. But then I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. No words. Just a photo. It was a picture of the Audi Mark bought for Sophie. It was parked at a trailhead about 3 hours away. The trunk was open. It was empty. Underneath the photo, a message appeared. "Thanks for the car, Jen. He really was as stupid as you thought. She's gone. She took the money, she took the car, and she left Mark to rot in a cell. And the worst part? I'm the one who has to explain to an 8-year-old why his dad isn't coming home for a very, very long time." Update 7. It's been 3 days since the arrest. Mark's lawyer called me. He had the nerve to ask if I would testify as a character witness for the bail hearing. "Character witness?" I asked. I almost dropped the phone. "You want me to tell a judge what a great guy he is? The guy who forged my signature and left me for a criminal?" "Jen, listen," the lawyer said. He sounded stressed. "Mark is claiming he was under duress. He's saying Sophie and her brother threatened you and the kids. He's saying he only moved the money to protect you. I felt a surge of pure, white-hot fury. He's lying. I have the videos, remember? I heard him on that USB drive. He said I was a distraction. He said I was a piece of furniture. There was no duress, Dave. There was just greed and a pathetic need to feel like a big man. If he doesn't get bail, he's going to lose everything, Dave pleaded. He already lost everything, I said. He lost me the second he unzipped that gym bag. I hung up and went to the kitchen. The golden retriever was sitting by the door, waiting for Mark to come home for his post-gym walk. I knelt down and hugged that dog and finally started to cry. I cried for the 15 years I wasted. I cried for the house I might lose. I cried for the fact that my life is now a case file. But then, my sister called. She's been helping me go through the mail and the bills I'd ignored. Jen, she said, her voice shaking. I found something in the basement. Behind the water heater. There's an old gym bag. Not the one he had the other day. An older one. What's in it, Sarah? It's not clothes. Jen, it's cash. It's a lot of cash. And there's a passport. It's not Mark's. It's yours. But the name on it isn't yours. I felt the room spin. I'm looking at the passport now. It's my photo. But the name is Jennifer Varga. Mark didn't just have a mistress. He was planning to disappear. And he wasn't going with Sophie. He was planning to take me, or someone who looked like me, under a false identity. Or maybe he was setting me up to be the one who fled when the firm collapsed. The confession email, the honeypot, the scam, it's all layers of a lie I still haven't reached the bottom of. I'm looking at the stack of cash. It's mostly $100 bills. There must be 50,000 here. I should call Agent Vance. I know I should. But I'm looking at my kids sleeping in the other room, and I'm looking at the foreclosure notice that arrived this morning for the second mortgage I didn't sign. I'm sitting here with a pile of dirty money and a fake passport, and for the first time in 15 years, I'm wondering if Mark was the only one who learned how to be a criminal. I haven't called the FBI yet. I'm just sitting here, staring at the money. The gym bag is still on the floor. It smells like high-end deodorant and lies. I think I'm going to go for a drive. Hi there, if you made it so far. Consider dropping a like and maybe subscribing. Thanks. And have a nice one.